The chief executive of Barclays, Anthony Jenkins, is to give up his bonus for 2012 because of what he described as a very difficult year for the bank. Mr. Jenkins, who only took on the role last August, said it was only right that he bear an appropriate degree of responsibility for problems of the bank's own making. Those include a £290 million fine for its involvement in the LIBOR rate-fixing scandal. The maximum bonus Mr. Jenkins was entitled to was £2.75 million to be paid in shares over 3 years. Well, the Chancellor, George Osborne, has welcomed a decision by Mr. Jenkins to forgo his bonus.
Well, I think all the banks need to understand it's a very difficult economic environment out there, that they have to be very sensible about their pay this year, given that. I welcome the decision by Anthony Jenkins, the Chief Executive of Barclays. I think what Barclays is doing by focusing now on its retail customers, its high street branches, I think is absolutely the right thing.
The Chancellor, well, let's get more on this now. And joining me from our studio in central London is Chris Roebuck, visiting Professor of Transformational Leadership at the Cass Business School. And here with me in the studio is John Purcell, Managing Director at International Headhunters Purcell & Co. A very good evening to both of you and welcome. I'll start off with you, Professor Roebuck, if I may. I mean, some bank bosses have really had to be given a nudge, haven't they, to give up their bonus, and others have had to positively be press-ganged into it. And I just wonder, you know, we're really not used to the notion, are we, of bank bosses giving up their bonuses voluntarily?
No, we're not used to it happening voluntarily, but there's an argument that does say if you are entitled to a bonus and it's in your contract, that there is no logical reason why you shouldn't take it. I think we need to be clear that actually we take a slightly different view in UK and Europe to the US and to Asia, where in both of those places, if you have a bonus and you are entitled to it and you have delivered the goods, then the public as a whole don't care that you get the bonus and they think you should. But in Europe and UK, we inject this extra sort of social element in terms of the breadth of distribution of wealth in society as to whether it's right or whether it's wrong.
We'll come back to that point in a moment. But John, just to turn to you, I think Anthony Jenkins has obviously assessed the mood, hasn't he, and before making this decision, and he's decided that the time is not right to be taking a large bonus. He's obviously keenly aware of what the perception of that would be. Do you think that's a wise move from him?
Well, I think for him and for Barclays as a whole, it is a good move. The concern is what the sort of knock-on effects this will have in the sort of political weather map, if you like, because if any bank boss does go ahead and take a bonus, even if it's fully deserved, as Professor Roebuck alluded to, he or she will be castigated. And that's a rather unfortunate situation whereby success in the UK is seen as something that has to be not applauded but lambasted when people are getting this big money, notwithstanding that, of course, more than half of whatever they're earning goes back to us, the taxpayers, in terms of tax receipts. I
mean, just how much pressure do you think there will be on other top bankers and leaders of various banks to follow the lead set now by Anthony Jenkins?
Well, he's certainly set a moral tone, and it is a fairly unique development in the whole world of pay. I mean, there was a dreadful period last year when Stephen Hester, who thoroughly deserved his bonus, was forced by politicians in the court of public opinion to give his bonus up. And I hope it doesn't react with that sort of stuff again, because if the UK is seen as a place where if you're successful you'll just get abused for it, that's not going to be very attractive for any business to set up here.
Professor Roebuck, you've talked a little bit about the differences in perception between here in the UK, indeed in Europe, and the US and Asia. And I wonder if here in the UK the belief is that we're not quite ready to say to the bankers, OK, you know, take those big bonuses. Well, when will we be ready to do that, do you think?
I don't think it's a question about whether we think they're ready. I think we, in terms of high pay across the board, to be perfectly blunt, whether it's bankers, whether it's footballers, whether it's chief executives, need to understand that if we turn around and say, I'm sorry, high pay from our perspective is morally unacceptable and you shouldn't take it, that there may be a commercial cost, because Asia and America say, take as much as you like if you've done the job. Having said that, what we need to ensure is that that pay accurately reflects performance. Because if you look at chief executive pay in this country, it's doubled over the last 10 years, but the performance of their companies hasn't doubled. So it's not only the question of actually, is this bonus too big or should they take it, but is it actually a reflection of performance in the first place anyway? And certainly in the banks, anybody who was associated with things going wrong should not get a bonus, but if they came in after the things went wrong, there is logically no reason why they shouldn't have a bonus.
John Purcell, when we're discussing this area, we often hear the argument, don't we, that if banks or any other businesses or industry aren't prepared to pay top dollar, so to speak, they won't attract the right calibre of candidate for the top jobs. I mean, is there any actual hard evidence, I mean, and you're a headhunter who places people in these sorts of positions, is there any hard evidence that people are being turned off the UK as a place to come and work because of, you know, the pressure perhaps on bonuses here?
Yeah, there's two particular jurisdictions that are doing very well out of the political weather in the UK, and they are specifically Switzerland and Hong Kong. And we have dealt with many high-profile individuals and companies who have actively said we're either not coming to the UK when we have looking at various options, or we're actually going to leave the UK and headquarter in Hong Kong or Switzerland specifically. The US is obviously a huge market as well, and that is rather damaging because even though people don't like the fact of high pay, these people employ a lot of people and they all pay a whole lot of tax.
And just finally, I'm asking you both for a very brief answer to what is, I appreciate, a quite complex question. Is it right that we apply some kind of moral or social element to the issue of pay and bonuses? John, you first.
A mild degree, I would say.
And Professor Roebuck?
Yes, I think we need to apply some, because otherwise we get to the point where actually high pay becomes divisive within society.
OK, well, thank you both very much for that interesting discussion. We'll see what other bankers do if they follow Anthony Jenkins. Thank you both very much.